Most shorter men go straight to the same fix: shoes with a thick sole, a hidden heel, maybe standing a little straighter. And none of that is wrong, but none of it is actually solving the problem either, because the real issue isn't happening at your feet, it's happening everywhere else in your outfit. If you're a shorter man, you don't have a height problem, you have a proportion problem. And proportion is something you can control completely with how you dress. Here's the truth most style advice gets wrong. Dressing taller isn't about tricking people. It's about understanding how the eye moves across a body and then using clothing to guide that movement in your favor. Once you understand that, everything changes. Let's get into it. The first thing you need to understand is the concept of vertical lines. The human eye naturally follows lines. When those lines run up and down your body, the eye travels vertically. And that vertical movement reads as height. When lines run horizontally, the eye travels side to side, and your body reads as wider and shorter. This is not a style opinion. This is basic visual psychology, and it applies to every single outfit you put together. So what creates vertical lines? Slim, well-fitted trousers with a clean break at the ankle, a single color outfit from top to bottom, a shirt that's properly tucked, a jacket with a strong shoulder line that draws the eye upward. These details cost nothing extra. They just require you to know what you're looking for. Now let's talk about the single biggest mistake shorter men make. And it's one almost nobody addresses directly. It's wearing clothes that are too big. When a shorter man wears an oversized shirt, a boxy jacket, or trousers with too much fabric stacking at the ankle, the clothes swallow the frame. The body disappears inside the clothing, and all the eye sees is fabric. You lose your shape, you lose your structure, and you lose perceived height instantly. Fit is not a preference for shorter men. It is the foundation of everything. Your clothes need to follow the shape of your body. Not tight, not restrictive, just clean. When fabric drapes cleanly from the shoulder, follows the torso, and ends at the right point on the leg, the frame is visible. And a visible frame always reads taller than a hidden one. This leads directly into the second principle. And this one is just as important as fit. It's the concept of a high visual break. The visual break is the point where your eye naturally stops as it moves up your body. If your waistband sits low, your trouser break is heavy, and your shirt is untucked and long, the eye stops somewhere around your hips. That's the lowest possible reading of your height, because the eye is spending most of its time in the bottom half of your frame. But when you raise that visual break, by wearing your trousers at the natural waist, tucking in your shirt, or choosing a shorter jacket, the eye stops higher up on your body. Your legs appear longer, your torso reads cleaner, and the overall impression of your height increases without you gaining a single inch. This is why shorter men should almost always tuck in their shirts. A long, untucked shirt cuts the body in the wrong place and shortens the leg line dramatically. A tucked shirt raises the break, cleans up the silhouette, and immediately adds visual height. The same logic applies to jacket length. A longer jacket drops the visual break and shortens the legs below it. A shorter, well-fitted jacket, sitting right at the hip, keeps the break high and lets the full leg line work in your favor. Now let's talk about color, because this is where a lot of shorter men quietly lose height without even realizing it. Color contrast is one of the most powerful tools in your wardrobe and one of the most misunderstood. When you wear a dark top with light trousers or a bold shirt with neutral pants, you create a strong horizontal contrast line right at the waist. The eye locks onto that contrast immediately, it stops there, and your body gets visually cut in half. That division makes the torso look like one separate unit and the legs like another, and both halves end up reading shorter than they actually are. The fix is simple. Wear tonal outfits. That means keeping your top and bottom in the same color family. Navy trousers with a navy or mid-blue shirt. Charcoal trousers with a gray or dark top. Tan chinos with a camel or cream shirt. When the colors flow from top to bottom without a hard break, the eye travels the full length of the body uninterrupted. And that uninterrupted vertical read adds significant perceived height. This doesn't mean your outfits need to be boring. You can still add interest through texture, fabric weight, or a subtle difference in shade. What you're avoiding is strong contrast at the waist. Keep the contrast low between top and bottom, and you keep the vertical line intact. Now here's something that connects directly to this: pattern scale. If you're going to wear patterns, the scale of the pattern needs to match the scale of your frame. Large, bold checks, wide stripes, or oversized prints on a shorter frame create visual noise that expands the body outward rather than upward. The pattern becomes larger than the frame carrying it, and the overall effect is that the clothing wears you instead of the other way around. Smaller, tighter patterns work in your favor. A fine stripe, a subtle texture, a small check. These add visual interest without competing with your proportions. And a thin vertical stripe is one of the most effective tools a shorter man has in his wardrobe. It draws the eye upward, reinforces the vertical line, and adds a sharpness to the silhouette that reads instantly as taller and more put together. But here's the mistake men make even when they get the pattern right. They ignore the trouser break, and this one detail can undo everything else you've done correctly. The trouser break is where the hem of your trousers meets your shoe. Too much fabric bunching at the ankle creates a heavy stacking effect that visually anchors you to the ground. It makes the leg look shorter and the shoe look larger than it is. For a shorter man, this is one of the fastest ways to lose height in an outfit. What you want is a clean, minimal break, or no break at all. A slight taper that ends cleanly just above the top of the shoe or sits right at the ankle keeps the leg line long and unbroken. It lets the full length of your leg read as one continuous line from hip to floor. And that continuous line is exactly what creates the impression of height. Cropped trousers, worn correctly, can also work well for shorter men, but only when the proportions of the rest of the outfit are balanced. A cropped trouser that ends cleanly above the ankle, paired with a low-profile shoe, keeps the silhouette tight and intentional. Done wrong, it just looks like trousers that are too short. The difference is always in how the rest of the outfit supports it. Let's talk about the one piece of clothing that has more impact on a shorter man's frame than almost anything else: the jacket. A well-fitted jacket is the single most powerful tool you have. It structures the shoulder, defines the torso, and creates a clean vertical silhouette from top to bottom. When it fits correctly, it does more for your perceived height and presence than any other garment in your wardrobe. But most shorter men either avoid jackets entirely or they wear them in the wrong fit. And both of those are mistakes. The shoulder seam is where everything starts. If the shoulder of a jacket extends past your actual shoulder, the whole structure collapses, the sleeve hangs wrong, the chest looks wide and shapeless, and the jacket reads as too big, which reads as too short. The shoulder seam needs to sit exactly at the edge of your shoulder, not a centimeter over. That precision is what gives the jacket its shape and gives you your structure. From there, the jacket should follow the torso cleanly. A slight suppression at the waist, not aggressive, just present, keeps the silhouette from looking boxy. A boxy jacket on a shorter frame is one of the most proportion-destroying combinations in men's clothing. It widens the body, lowers the visual break, and removes all definition from the frame. A jacket with a clean waist suppression does the opposite. It elongates the torso, raises the visual break, and makes the entire frame read sharper and taller. Lapel width is another detail that most men overlook. Wide lapels on a shorter frame pull the eye horizontally across the chest, exactly the direction you don't want. A medium to slim lapel keeps the eye moving vertically, reinforcing the upward line of the jacket and the overall silhouette. It's a small detail, but in a garment as structured as a jacket, small details have a large visual effect. And before we get into the final piece of this, the one that pulls the entire outfit together, if you're finding this useful, take 2 seconds and subscribe to Frame Fashion Theory. We break down exactly how clothing works on different frames. No fluff, no filler, just the mechanics behind why certain clothes work and others don't. Hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Now let's finish this. Now let's bring everything together with the most overlooked element of all: the shoe. Most men treat the shoe as an afterthought, something you put on after the outfit is already decided. But for a shorter man, the shoe is a critical part of the proportion equation. The wrong shoe can undo a perfectly constructed outfit. The right shoe completes it. What you want is a low-profile shoe with a clean, slim silhouette. A slim Oxford, a simple Chelsea boot, a low-profile leather sneaker in a neutral color. These shoes keep the foot looking proportionate to the leg, maintain the clean trouser line, and let the full length of the leg read without interruption. What you want to avoid is a bulky shoe with a thick rubber sole, a heavy toe box, or excessive detailing. These shoes visually anchor the foot to the ground and create a heaviness at the bottom of the silhouette that pulls the eye downward, the opposite of what you're building toward. The goal is a silhouette that travels upward. Every element of the outfit, from the trouser, hem, to the shoe, needs to support that direction. A Chelsea boot in particular works exceptionally well for shorter men. The clean, unbroken line from the trouser to the boot creates one continuous leg line with no visual interruption. No laces, no tongue, no bulk, just a smooth, elongated silhouette that adds real visible length to the leg. It's one of the most reliable pieces a shorter man can own. Here's the bigger point, and this is what frame fashion theory is really about. None of what we've covered today requires you to spend more money. It doesn't require a new wardrobe. It requires understanding. Once you understand how the eye reads a frame, how proportion works, and how clothing either supports or fights your natural structure, every decision you make when getting dressed becomes clearer and more intentional. You stop buying clothes that feel comfortable in the store and look wrong at home. You stop wondering why an outfit isn't working. You start seeing the mechanics behind it, the break, the line, the contrast, the fit. And you start making those mechanics work for you instead of against you. Height is a fixed number. Presence isn't. And presence is built through proportion, structure, and the understanding that the right clothes on the right frame don't just change how you look, they change how you carry yourself. And that changes everything. If this gave you a new way of thinking about how you dress, hit the like button. It genuinely helps the channel grow. Subscribe to Frame Fashion Theory if you want to keep breaking down how clothing actually works on real frames. And drop a comment below telling me your height and the biggest fit challenge you deal with. I read every single one, and your comment might become the next video on this channel.